Hi there, I'm Teresa Maron, and I'm the LearnTo Queen. The niche and passion of my expertise is creating conscious content in the self-help and personal development field because I truly believe that conscious content creation by people like you is changing the world. Join me and my guest expert collaboration partners for an inside look at the problem-solving industry. We want to help you so that you can help others.
Hi there, it's Teresa Maron, the LearnTo Queen, and I'm helping you so you can help others. Thank you for joining me and my guest collaboration partners for Insider Secrets on Content Marketing. This is just for you if you're a professional in the problem-solving business. You can get my free ebook, Titles, Taglines, and Intros, at LearnTo.us. Today, my guest is Tonya Hofmann. She is the CEO and the founder of the Public Speakers Association. Now, Tonya is going to be sharing some insider tips on the booming but rapidly changing speaker industry. She's an expert at teaching you how to make money speaking, which is our title today. Now, Tonya has the tagline of Change the World from the Front of the Room, and she backs that up with mentoring, free training, resources, and shared contacts at her live events, which she is having at any one particular moment all around. So we're going to let her tell you more about that. Tonya, how are you doing today?
Fantastic. Thank you for having me on.
Well, we're going to have a good time today, but I am fascinated myself in learning some of your insider tips on the booming speaker industry. So why don't we start off by you sharing with our listeners how they can find you at the Public Speakers Association?
Oh, you can just simply go to Public Speakers with an S, association.com, and you will find all kinds of goodies there, including how to get a hold of me.
Ooh. Well, okay, publicspeakersassociation.com. Now, Tonya, we said that we were going to talk about insider tips, and we are. But first, can you give me, 3 or 4 characteristics of the type of person that you feel is the perfect speaker?
It really takes people with heart nowadays. It's kind of moving away from I just want to train the people in front of me to the people really wanting kind of interaction and real information. No, kind of fluffy cloud information. They really want content. And so realistically, anyone that has a passion to help people in their specific arena is a great target, especially for those that have a business where speaking can be part of their marketing, component.
Oh, that sounds great. So do you actually train speakers or do you just support them, or both?
I do both. So at the association, when I created it, I wanted it not just be another networking group for speakers. I wanted it to be a very interactive, proactive type of group so that people can really get in there, learn what they need to know, especially since everything's changing so fast nowadays, and then a way for them to get their name known and their message heard. Because if no one's ever heard of them and no one's ever heard their message, they're not getting booked, they're not changing lives. So it's really important for me to help people kind of get out there and make an impact.
Right. Well, what would you say would be the number one thing that someone who wants to, let's just say someone's a coach or in the problem-solving business of some sort, and they want to get into the speaker arena. Would you say the first thing they should do is come up with their topics or maybe attend a meeting, or even something a little bit proactive? Should they take a class?
Yeah, it's kind of a combination. You have to kind of jump into this and kind of be really committed because there's a lot of moving parts. You're really developing a business, and speaking is one of the components of that business. So in today's market, there's very little paid speaking. So what most people think of as a speaker, they think of an association, a company, somebody flying someone in, paying them a speaker's fee, the person getting there, doing their thing, and then back home again. And that still does happen, especially if it's corporate training or, some type of training modules, but it is very rare. It's only about 10% because in 2009, 2010, the world changed and a lot of people cut budgets. And another thing started happening about that time. Myself and my friends and some of the biggest speakers that are out there started realizing that, if you wanted to get booked to speak, it's really great to help the venue, the person putting on the event, make more money at it. And so for them to make more money, you just simply didn't ask them for a speaker's fee or any, travel cost or anything, because you could actually sell more and make more money when you take that room and you bring them into your world and not only sell to them at the event, because you really do have to sell to them, because you can't, there's no way in 30 minutes or an hour on stage can you change somebody's life forever. So it's about bringing them into your world so that you can continue selling to them, which means you can continue to help them. They have to buy into what you're doing in order for you to help them. So it's fun now because you try to figure out how can you help somebody? How can you help that venue, that event, promote it, make more money at it, revenue share with them so that they're making even more money. The more you help others, the more things will happen for you. So it's pretty exciting nowadays.
Well, I see what you mean. I mean, I see where you're taking this, is that you can get a little bit more creative in the way you approach booking, and you can facilitate more income and more change on both sides of the fence, both the organizer of the event and yourself, by looking long-term at the people that you're speaking to. If you're looking long-term, maybe offering a special program for them or offering something that would entice them to want to follow you, next month, next year. And then the event organizer, what did they get from this circle?
So what happens is, you have to think. Yeah, you have to think about the entire kind of perspective for both the event person and for the speaker. So it does have to be a win-win scenario. So the speaker, the event must be a target market for them. If it's not a target market, then they really shouldn't be speaking at that event. The event person then needs to make sure that speaker has real information that their people need, because it does have to be a symbiotic relationship. Then you look at the more you can interact with the people at that event, the better chance you have to do major improvements to their life. Whatever your subject matter is, you can go out and really change those people's lives. So if you just go in and you don't sell anything, you're really not allowing them real impact. So I always think, when I see a whole room, how dare I not really interact and sell to them so that I can actually make a change, so I can actually help them further. And so that's what we do in training is how do you get booked, and then how are you going to make money after you are booked? Because this can cost you quite a bit.
To be there, yes. And not to mention your time, which is, the gold that we have in the hills. But exactly. What you're saying kind of comes back to my heart and my passion, and that's content creation. I mean, I always say that speakers are the rock stars of content creation, because they have to be able to get in front of the room, have charisma, speak from their heart. They have to have products that they can offer at that point. They're writers, they're speakers, they're producers, they're content creators on every single level. And so what you're suggesting is that speakers have a program, a curriculum, some sort of content that they have created that they can offer long-term to their their audience, and that that follows along with the topics that they're speaking. So you're talking about creating an entire platform. Speaking is a piece of the pie in creating your platform.
And a lot of people get very overwhelmed, obviously, because as you just mentioned, there's a lot of components, right? And I always tell people, it's about really helping, find people like yourself, right? So everyone who's listening, you find people like Teresa that can help you with that content creation, right? Or help you create a radio show.
Yeah. Oh, well, we were going to talk about that. But, I mean, we're enjoying our radio show, and, Tonya, you have a television show, and, everybody has all these different opportunities these days to get your voice out there, and it does take organization, and it does take a skill set, but if you are willing to put the time and the effort into that, it does start to roll like the big wheel, because pretty soon you're creating an e-book that turns into your speaker topic that you can then put on your radio show, and then you can have guests who support that topic on your TV show, and it does start to roll like the big wheel. But I was just sitting here having my coffee, and I was feeling a little overwhelmed, I have to admit.
Well, it's all about tweaking, and there's no, a lot of people want to put a race on it. I've got to be done by such and such, and it doesn't happen, because just like any business, it's constantly evolving, it's constantly changing. And so I always look at stop trying to make things perfect and start, thinking of everything as a tweaking moment. How can I adjust this? And then how can I fail really quickly so that I can figure out what actually works? And for a lot of people, that's a very tough task, because they don't want to fail. But that's really the only way to find out what works. You have to create a title, and for your presentation, well, maybe it's the wrong title, but that's why you go out there and you do it, and you present it, and you see what people, how they react to the title and your presentation. I've been tweaking, and all the people that I've ever known that has been successful start off horrible. We all start off, at the beginning. And it's just about getting out there and doing it for the right reasons, to really change people's lives. And then looking at every moment as an opportunity to tweak, to adjust. So when you speak, when you speak, in front of, and let's take this out of the equation too, because most people think of speaking in front of 1,000 people. And realistically, most speaking is in front of 20 to 30 people. So, those people are like, oh, I can't be a speaker because I can't speak in front of 1,000 people. Well, yeah, but that's a very rare opportunity.
Well, let's not worry about that today.
Exactly. You don't have to
worry about.
Exactly. Don't, put the eggs, before the basket, Exactly.
And I know that that's an irrational fear, but most people do not understand, and we're segueing into the second part of our talk today, Tonya, with this statement. Most people do not understand that when you're speaking, it's not about you. It's really not about you at all. It's about the people who are in front of you. And most of them are very, very forgiving of the occasional or well, or if you forget your train of thought because someone asked a question that takes you off track. No one cares about stuff like that. If you don't give your talk, or if you don't stay on track on your radio show, or whatever you're doing, if you're not 100% on track and you're really interacting with people, now it matters in an e-book, okay? You need to stay on topic. But if you are in front of people and you get a little bit off, it's endearing, it's warming, and it's more about where the people want you to go. So can you give our listeners 2 or 3 really good points? And, Tonya, would you indulge me for a moment and just tell everyone the 2 things that you require in order to join your organization?
Oh, sure. I created my rules about 2007. So everyone needs to create their own rules. My first rule is you have to be nice. No mean, grumpy, negative people allowed. And the other one is no perfect people, only imperfect people, please.
No problem. So share with our listeners today 2 or 3 really golden nuggets that they can hold inside their heart and work with in becoming a better speaker.
Perfect. So the first one is, I listen to all the $1 million speakers, and I'd listen to the unedited audios and videos. And what I found, because I was, frantic when I wanted to become a speaker because I didn't think I had the stuff, right? And so I listened to these unedited audios and realized they all say they all mess up their words, they use the wrong words, they get sidetracked, all the things that I was fearful of. So my first tip is do not strive to be perfect. What you realize is the connection with the audience is about you, and they're up there, they're watching you, and they love you. So stop focusing on trying to make this perfect presentation that you completely memorize. Just go out there with great content, give them great information, interact, and don't lose your personality, because that's what will make you money. The second tip is really about when you look at the speaking world and getting involved in the speaking world, you really need to learn to fail. And I know we talked about it a little bit, but you really do need to be okay with it. And failure is not a bad thing. Failure just means that you found out something that didn't work so that you can tweak it to make it work. And the only way you will ever find things that will work is by tweaking the things that don't. So if you stop at the first thing that doesn't work and you stop there, you'll never figure out what actually works. So continue. Just keep on, and watch and listen to those that are successful. The third one would be connect yourself with amazing people that are positive, that are encouragers, that will give you great advice and insight. When you ask them a question about your presentation, they'll give you real information because that is valuable. But you want to be around the right people. You want to be around people that are successful. You want to be around people that are go-getters, that are out there and they're like, I am winning, I am moving forward. You can't get stuck into the vat of, negativity, because there's enough people out there like that. So focus on the positive and not the negative. And realistically, even when you're speaking, this is valuable information with your speaking, because I used to go into a room, and I'm probably like a lot of, especially women, we want to please everybody. We want everyone to like us. And I would always find that person or the people in the room that didn't like me. And I would try to figure out what was I saying on stage that they didn't like. And the more it seemed like I was trying to make them happy, the more they didn't like me. And so one day I was talking, and this guy was just obviously didn't like what I was saying. But then I looked over, and there was a woman that was like shaking her head. She was all excited. She was writing down everything. She had a big smile on her face. And I'm like, oh, my gosh, I'm focusing on the negative instead of the positive in the room. So I always think of 20% of the room automatically doesn't like you. But it's okay. I know, right? But it's okay because you don't like them either. So stop focusing on those people you don't even like. Exactly. Focus on the top 20% that are already buying into what you're saying, who are already ready to buy your product or service. Focus on them, and then take the other 60% and put them into your newsletters, your social media accounts, so that you can continue the conversation until they decide which camp that they're in. Are they in the negative camp or in the positive camp? Do they love you or they don't like you? So let them decide and be okay. Stop flustering because someone opted out of your newsletter. Good. Goodbye. We don't need those people.
It took me a while to get to that, to get to the point where I could let someone, opt out of my newsletter and not take it personally. I mean, it really used to bother me, Tonya. Now, now And, I think part of it was because I had the chimp, and the chimp comes on and kind of laughs at you. So I changed my email program, and it works out a lot better, and I do not miss the chimp.
Exactly. I never look at who opts out anymore. And I used to, and I'd be like, why did they opt out? What is they didn't like? And that just brings on more negativity. So stop focusing on those and focusing on people that are still there, who still love you, who still want more information.
Exactly. I think that's a really good point. And, all the points that you make are really wonderful. Now, I think I'd like to talk just a moment about your speaker topics. I think that one of the most confident building things that a speaker can do, tell me if I'm on the right track here, is to have 2 or 3 go-to topics that they are really personally excited about. And do you help people choose their topic? Do you have any, specific input on how to get started with a really great speech?
So when you look at, you really have to develop eventually 3 platforms, which is 3 speaking topics. So one of them is your keynote, which is usually the one that people pay for. They will pay your speaker's fee. And that's kind of more motivational, inspirational. But nowadays, they really still want training along with your motivation. The other 2 are your workshops, and these are really your money makers. These are ones you develop out with products and services that you sell at the back of the room and after follow-up sales and all of those kind of things. So those are going to be the ones that you're going to be booked the most for. Now, the easiest way to figure out what do people want to book is create something and see if after you apply for something, are they booking you for that? And it could be your title is wrong. So, with the Public Speakers Association, we actually go over how to, create a title that wows and gets booked. How to create those platform presentations, what's actually booking out there. And obviously I do personal one-on-one coaching too, if people really want to just kind of dive in and have someone help them with it. But, in the reality of the speaking world, you also need to see what people are booking. And so when we're constantly sending out speaking opportunities, we're just sending out the emails to let people know it's your opportunity to see what people are asking for at their conferences, at their events, at their associations, at their networking groups. And then you start looking at what do you have, what do you know that will interest them? And then you dive into it. And then you try it out. And then you tweak it. And then you tweak, and keep trying.
I haven't really ever heard it put quite well organized. That's a very organized way to approach your speaker topics. I really appreciate that, Tonya. That's really some great content for people out there who are listening who, really want to jump into the speaker world, but they haven't got that 1, 2, 3 system yet. I think that's a lot of people really want to be able to look and look forward into the future and see that this is step 1, this is step 2, and this is step 3. And I think that that's something, that you are really, really a fantastic resource through the events that you hold and the structure that you put together with the Public Speakers Association. Can you share with our listeners just a little bit about how that works if you were to join the Public Speakers Association, like right away, and how that would support you? And and you've grown so exponentially. Just kind of tell our listeners a little bit more about the Public Speakers Association.
Great. Well, thank you. So I created it January of 2013. So right now it's a little over 2 years old. And we're across the United States and in Canada. And we do have local groups. We also have a virtual chapter that meets once a month. All of them meet once a month. And that way people can, get connected, network, and then practice. It's all about practicing. We are looking to start up chapters in all cities. So we're looking for people who would like to really jump out there and always, be shown as a leader, because as we know, people follow leaders, they don't follow followers. So we've set it up so that people can really stand out. But the association, I wanted to create it where it was incredibly proactive and interactive. So we're constantly putting on our own summits, our virtual summits. So it's on the telephone. We've got ones that we've done in the past, and we record all of the presentations. So not only are people live on the event and listening, but we record it so that people can listen to our fantastic members' presentations over and over again. It also gives people an opportunity to practice the virtual world, because the virtual world is becoming huge. I am seeing huge influx of associations, conferences that usually would meet once a year or twice a year are now going virtual. It's just becoming part of the trend. And so you have to kind of get used to speaking in a room, with your, kitty cat looking at you going, I don't care what you're saying, and your dog going, oh my God, you're the best thing since sliced bread. You got to get used to not having that human interaction.
Exactly.
So we do a lot, right? We do a lot of summits every month so that people get a chance to speak their mind and get used to it, and then also allow people to hear their presentations. It's also incredible lead gen. So I was just talking to a lady who had people contact her for a free coaching session, and now she's turned already several of them into actual nice paying VIP clients. So it's a great way for you to find new clients for yourself too. We're also constantly creating educational modules and trainings so that you can keep up with what is working. We just did one on the changes in how to tell your story from stage. That's changed. So we're trying to keep up with the world of speaking and give that information directly over to our members. We constantly are constantly trying to figure out how to market our members more. And then also the speaking opportunities. So as soon as I find out about any speaking opportunity, from radio shows to conferences, from little events with 20 people up to, I had one the other day that had 10,000 people at the event. And
wow.
We've tried to help people, not only find out about them, but be a resource to answer questions, because a lot of times people are like, I don't know how to fill this out, and so they just contact me and or somebody that one of their chapter leaders to help get that feedback, to get some kind of a lot of times we just need a little quick answer or question answered really quickly. So we love being that resource for people, and not just on a just listen to our stuff and you'll be done, but actually, contacting us and we'll answer questions. A lot of times people create a title and they'll want feedback, so they can go to their local chapter and get feedback there, or they can contact the home office. So, I give everybody not only my office number, but also my cell phone when they join, so that they can get that kind of feedback. And people,
I just have to jump in. I have to jump in for a second, Tonya, because when I first met you, it was at a networking event during the daytime. It was like a lunchtime thing, and it was about 2 years ago. And I tell you, you were talking about the Public Speakers Association, and I thought that association had been on for years. And I am now just hearing you must have just started it. I mean, it grew like wildfire. And the second thing is, I want the listeners to know this. I have picked up the phone twice in my life, thinking I was going to just leave you a message. You answer the phone, and not only do you answer the phone, but you spent, and I don't want to throw it out there that this is what you can always do, but you actually spent time on the phone talking to me. I was just like, oh my goodness, you are very, very accessible. And I think that's one of the reasons that your association has grown so fast. And I will say from personal experience that I've gotten numerous emails about opportunities in probably every genre that you can imagine for speaking opportunities all over the United States and a couple in Canada. And so the Public Speakers Association has been something that has been a vibrant opportunity, and the live events are a place where you can meet people that not only are referral partners for you and mentors and people that will, as you said, really give you some honest and insightful input about what you're doing, that it is a powerful lead generator. So the system is working at the grassroots level and beyond. So if you wanted to start a chapter or you wanted to get involved and you weren't in a city that actually had a chapter, what would be that next step? What's the levels that you can get involved in?
We have multiple levels of leadership, depending on if someone just wants to let people know about PSA, because we do revenue sharing, but also if they just want to help out as a group. So if you've got a chapter near you, we probably are still looking for part of our leadership team. If you don't have one near you, love to talk to you about, what it would take to start it, and really it's just about reaching out and saying hello and getting that conversation going. We've kind of created it where there's not a whole lot to do. Everything's kind of created. It's kind of in the box type of situation. And then I give you lots of insight on how to make a really successful chapter. I've owned multiple networking organizations in the past that I've sold, and I love to give that kind of insight on how to make a group really rock it. And because it really does turn into huge opportunities for the person running the group and even the leadership team. So it's a fun kind of movement, quick movement forward, especially in the speaking realm, because obviously who's going to be booked over somebody else? Well, the one who says they're executive director for a speaking organization.
Well, of course.
And then it's about also finding the people who like to have fun. Because if you don't like to have fun, I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah, you just don't. I know. It's just not an option. Fun has to be
Exactly.
first. Exactly. You and I agree on that. Now, I just want to spend our last few minutes, I want to spend our last few minutes, Tonya, talking about your live events. Now, I know that you have had a couple of live events that turned into pretty big events, and I know you've got one coming up. And tell me what the focus is of your live event and what is the takeaway.
So we've got the Public Speakers Conference, and you can go to publicspeakers.conference.com. And it's in San Antonio, Texas, June 14th through the 17th. We put it on last year when Les Brown and Jane Duber, Patty Farmer, Elizabeth McCormick, so many amazing speakers were there. And it's really about learning from the 6- and 7-figure speakers. So they do actual training to really make an impact for you. So it's not just, a bunch of motivational, yay, we're going to have a great time, which they do, but you really do walk away with implementable training that will get you moving in the direction that you're looking for. Plus, you are sitting there connecting with the top speakers in the world, because they don't just fly in and fly out. Most of them stay the whole time and are accessible. That's one of my biggest pet peeves is these events that you can't talk to the speakers. And I'm like, well, that doesn't work in the speaking organization. So I wanted them to be just as accessible. Exactly. So it's hugely beneficial and so much fun. Oh, my gosh. Because you get a whole room, 100, 150 people in one room that are all AAA personalities, and we rock it. It's just so much fun to sit down, collaborate. I'm constantly talking to people who are going to be there, who are looking to actually book the speakers. So not only will you be coming just to learn, but if you're ready, you can actually connect with those that are booking. So radio shows, magazines, people putting on their own conferences, their own virtual events, they're all going to be there. And so it's a great way for you to really jumpstart a speaking career and get connected to those that can make an immediate impact. So it's a lot of fun. Plus we have margaritas and Mexican food and and smile the whole time.
Oh, I just love it. Well, Tonya, you truly are the person to get to know if you want a speaking career, and I appreciate you being on LearnTo today. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, I've had a blast. Thank you so much.
Well, wonderful. So Tonya Hofmann, find her at thepublicspeakersassociation.com if you want to make money speaking. And this has been LearnTo. I'm Teresa Maron, the LearnTo Queen, and I want to help you so you can help others. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi there, I'm Teresa Maron, and I'm the LearnTo Queen. Join me and my guest expert collaboration partners for an inside look at the problem-solving industry. We want to help you so that you can help others.